Shalom, shalom, excuse me. Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua Bashem, Rakakodah, shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there, shalom to all. And I'm going to entitle this video that Isaiah 14 verse 2 coming to pass. And this is, I guess you can see I'm on chat GPT. And I asked this question on the other computer that I had. So I said, let me just do a little short video. But what I might do, because this past Saturday we going into Jeremiah 51, and we went into one verse, then we wound up in Isaiah chapter 14, and I forget what verse I said to go to. It was somewhere after 1, 2, it was around 5th verse. I think we were going into the king of Babylon, which is mentioned in both Isaiah 14 and Jeremiah chapter 50 or 51. I believe it's 50 because we read it. It says it speaks about him, feeble hands and feeble knees. I'm just paraphrasing it. But so Jeremiah 51 led us to Isaiah 14, and we hit certain parts of it. And I said maybe I'll do the whole chapter, but I wanted to focus on the second verse. And the reason why I want to do this is because the infamous vocab Malone said some time ago that Isaiah 14, this was some years ago, Isaiah 14 and 2 is referring to when the Medes took down Babylon, killed the king of Babylon and his lords, that we then as Israelites, we were able to put the citizens of Babylon, the Babylonians, in captivity. And how can that be? Now it does say in the scriptures that we had servants of the other nations, and I believe it was Babylonians too. But we didn't take, if there was a million people in the Babylonian Empire, we didn't take control over the 100 people, let's say a million people. There's a million Babylonians, and we just put them in captivity. No. And why is that? Because what you got to understand is when nations take over other nations in the ancient world, that nation became a vassal nation to the nation that took it over. In other words, they'll say, okay, you can still be king, you can still be ruler over your people, but you're going to be under us and you're going to have to pay tribute. Now, in chattel slavery, American slavery, that didn't happen. We were taken from mostly West Africa in slave ships, fulfilling Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Don't let Christians tell you something different. If they do, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They'll go into 70 AD. Oh, that's 70 AD. Nope. They didn't go. Those Israelite men from the age of 17 and up did not go from the Levant down into Egypt by ships. They didn't get on ships. They went through a route. I've been saying that. The route is called, and I knew there was a route, but I didn't know the name of it. Had I didn't continue to study, I would have found it eventually, but I knew there was a route. And the Spirit jumped on the elder brother from the UK, Yakanan, and he identified the route. And I said, I knew that. So now I know that, one hand washes the other, so as they say. But I knew it was a route. I said, nah, it didn't make no sense that they got on ships if the land was right there. So anyway, so if a Christian says, oh, that's a fulfillment, that's in Josephus. It says in that same Deuteronomy 28 and 68, it says male slaves and female slaves. The only ones they enslaved were the males 17 years and older. And I believe they made them work in the mines in Egypt. Now I can go further into that to go what were they digging up or what type of work that they did. That's after Titus took them over. So so you get see all your lies are getting chopped down. So going back to vocab, he said, "Oh, that's talking about the Israelites put the Babylonians, the Neo-Babylonians, that whole the whole citizenry under." No, that didn't happen because we were under the Medo-Persians. And then you had nations, enemy nations that didn't want us to build it. They wanted to build a temple with us. Going back to Zerubbabel and Joshua the high priest and the fathers of Israel, the leaders of Israel. And they said, nah, they wanted to physically build a temple, just like vocab wants to spiritually build a temple with us. You can't build a temple with us. And that's what's going on. That's Ezra chapter 4, verse 1. It's also in, I believe it's in, the last time I read that was a while ago. First Ezra's, I believe is 4, the 4th chapter, the 5th chapter. I got to go into that to refresh my memory, but it says the same thing. So that's in 2 places in the scriptures. It's in the regular Bible, King James, Ezra chapter 4, starting from the top, and also Forensic explains Jeffrey Dahmer's real diagnosis, serial killer analyst. Okay, so let me get back on track. So anyway, what vocab is attempting to do, he's trying to build the spiritual temple back, but that temple that he's building is, he's saying, oh, we got to all come together. We just a Christian. The Most High is not dealing with Israel anymore. As a matter of fact, there's what's the term? Replacement theology. You can look that up. And supersessionism. It was Apostle Ramlov that went through that. He mentioned that the other day, watching one of his videos. I can't even keep up with all these videos. I can't even watch all the videos. I watch parts, then I move to someplace else, and it's hard to do. But he's doing what those heathens did during the time of Zerubbabel and the so-called founding fathers of Israel, the leadership of Israel. And when they said no, they made it hard for us. And the scriptures say that we had a weapon on one side, which that's a part of the law anyway. You got your weapon on your side, and you had your paddle where your weapon was. That's part of the law. IUIC doesn't have a weapon on a sword on the side, neither paddle, neither tassels, neither phylacteries. And they worship the Sabbath. They worship the god of Saturn. They're nothing but purple Saturnalia. The Sabbath is based upon the new moons, not Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Anyway, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go read Isaiah. I'm going to go read Isaiah. Most I get to read a lot of the chapter, if not the whole chapter. So we don't got to do it this Saturday. Or we can do it a second time. Isaiah. '14. And we're going to start from the top. This is one of Ariel's favorite chapters too. I mean, once you go through it, you should know it. It's very simple. Once it's broken down to you. Israel's taunt. For Yahweh will have mercy, will have his future tense. So this is getting ready to happen. Mercy, you got IUIC talking about there's certain Israelites is going to burn in hell too. First of all, there's no hell. And number two, if there was a hell, Israel's not going to burn there because the Most High is going to have mercy. It didn't say on some Israelites or the elect. He's ultimately going to have mercy on his people. Give me a second. Okay, so go ahead. Let's go ahead and read this. For Yahweh will have mercy, will have, future tense, have mercy on Jacob. Jacob is another. When it says Jacob, it's not talking about the man Jacob, because his name was changed to Israel. Sometimes when you come across the word Jacob or the name Jacob, depending on the context, it's talking about Jacob the man or the Israelites or sometimes just Judah, but mostly Israel. So it should say for Yahweh will have mercy on Israelites, the sons of Jacob, and will yet choose Israel. So Israel's after the split, when they say Israel and Judah, the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah, this represents the northern kingdom. This represents the two sticks coming together, pursuant to Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 16 on down. So we're together now. This is why, like I said, I believe Nero 47, he's attacking the tribes. But he started with going after the northern kingdom tribes first. He's trying to upset the prophecy. If he can get all of them to go back to their lands and separate them from Judah, then the prophecy won't come to pass. Now, I don't know that for sure, but I got a good idea. Whether he knows it or not, I don't know. His elite, his handlers, because he has handlers. Whether they set it up and not tell him, or they told him this is what this represents, because they know that when the two kingdoms come together, pursuant to Isaiah 11, that's their ass. That's their arse. It says, and set them in their own land. Now they can jump up and down and say, see, that's the 48ers. No, it ain't the 48. Come on now. First of all, that's a secular government. They have what's called a kibbutz. I'm not even going to go all into that. They have a Knesset, which is a government, and it's a secular government. They wear suits and ties. They don't have beards. They don't have fringes on. They don't have suits and they have suits and ties, no fringes, no beards, and it's secular. So the Most High didn't say I'm bringing the Israelites together and I'm going to set up a secular empire rulership. That's just a fact. It says when they come back, when the kingdom is established, when Israel comes back, everybody's going to learn the laws. And what laws? The laws that were given to Moses by Yahweh, by Shema Shai. Very simple. You got these Christians saying, "Oh, the new covenant is for us." No, it's not. Read Hebrews 8 and 6 on down again. Doesn't mention anything about Christians. Doesn't mention Gentiles. Well, it says Gentiles right here. Doesn't even say Gentiles. It mentions Judah and Israel. Then it mentions Israel. And it says that the Most High will put a new covenant he will write the laws in our hearts. Christians say, oh, the new covenant is you don't got to keep the laws. What else do they say? Oh, he going to do away with the laws. No, the laws of Moses, except for sacrifice for sin, is going to be done away with. We are going to have sacrifice. Passover, you're sacrificing the lamb. So there will be sacrifices, but there's not going to be any sin sacrifice for Israel because we're going to be perfect. So that could be done away with. What else? That's mainly it. That's mainly it. So we're gonna be keeping them laws. We're gonna be keeping the Sabbath, the high holy days, which can include the Passover, the tabernacle, and we're gonna keep the tabernacle the right way, because there's not gonna be a Walmart where you can buy a tent, $20 to buy a fucking tent. Oh, we're keeping it. We're keeping the we're keeping the pass. We're keeping the tabernacles. No, you got a tent from Walmart. So what you talking about? You're going to keep the law, keep the whole law. All right? You ain't even keeping the past. Judges 5 and 11. I haven't been in that scripture in years. I'm surprised I even remember it. It says in the place of drawing waters, I'm merely paraphrasing. It said, there we shall rehearse the righteous acts. What does the word rehearsal mean? Now the actual Hebrew word goes back into the word recount, meaning we're acknowledging them laws and we're keeping them the best way we can. Hey, IUIC is not keeping the Passover the right way. They got enough money for this, so there's no excuse. They got to buy land, they got to raise cattle, then they got to separate a male, they got to put a male sheep, lamb to the side without blemish, and it's got to be a year old. If it's a year and a half, they can't use. So how many of y'all are doing that? So we're rehearsing the righteous acts. So it says, let me read it again. For Yahweh will have mercy on Yaquab, and that's how you say it. It means supplanter, because he supplanted Esau, the Ishur, and will yet choose Israel. So he's going to bring the two kingdoms together and set them in their own land. Come to Israel, come stay with friends. They're not the people over there. Because when we go back to our own land, we're going to be out of this land. We're going to have to be out of this land because missiles are going to drop on this land. And the scriptures say the righteous shall scarcely make it. So it's going to be, when them missiles come and you see them in the sky, everything going to go dark. The missiles going to cover the sun, the sun. Everything going to go, it's going to be a nice, bright, sunny day, and everything going to turn black, then fire. And then the enemies, they're going to see us being beamed up. So for you Israelites out there that say, oh, we got to go back to Egypt. And no, it says we're going to be next to our enemies. Our enemies are going to see us getting beamed up. It says, and the strangers, now most of these camps, if not all of them, they say the strangers are talking about the other nations. Where they get it from? They got it from the seventh, from Ariah. Ariah said the strangers are the other nations that call themselves Christians and Jays. No, that's not the case. The strangers, when I came in, you had men that taught me. I had to learn it from them. Even though my parents said I was an Israelite. You're an Israelite. I didn't take them all that serious. I said, yeah, okay, you said I'm an Israelite. But when I came into the truth, I already knew the scriptures. I was familiar with the scriptures. If they said go to Obadiah, I knew who Obadiah was. Go to this book, that book. I didn't know about the Apocrypha. So I would be a stranger until I come in, until I grow into this thing. Another thing, you got IUIC saying you got to keep them laws. First of all, in the commandments, it says you got to honor the name of the Most High. You don't even call on the name of the Most High. So you broke that law. And Peter said in Acts 15 so-called Jerusalem Council, he said, you don't got to keep all the laws. He said, because it was men from Jerusalem. I read it yesterday or 2 days ago. They said you cannot, because the Gentile Israelites were coming in. So they wasn't circumcised. So there was a big mess over whether they should be circumcised or not. And these men from Jerusalem, which are believers, they said, look, you ain't going to make it to the kingdom if you're not circumcised. So there was a big dispute. Paul and Barnabas, mainly Paul, had to go to Jerusalem to have a council. He couldn't get on the phone. He couldn't do a live one on YouTube, right? So they had to actually get they communicate with each other by epistles, which are letters. We communicate with people with these video epistles. I don't have to go around like Nate. Nate, I got to go over here. Now I got to go to Jamaica. You know how many times and money and time he wasted going down to Jamaica trying to build up the Israelites down there? And ain't nothing happening, man. Them little 2 Jamaican Hebrew IUIC camps, them guys ain't doing shit. They ain't doing a damn thing. You ain't on the horn telling them, look, when you going to put up a video. I checked them out. All that work that you did, all that money that you spent, hopping on the goddamn plane to try to wake these niggas up. And that's what, look, where you think that happened the other day in Jamaica? Because you don't even got 10 righteous in Jamaica. They doing what they want to fucking do. Now the nigga in Africa, he in Africa right now, trying to wake up them Hamites, but a lot of them is Jake. That ain't going nowhere. If you've been listening to the scriptures, it says to the uttermost part of the earth. The uttermost part of the earth is not Africa. You know I have to throw that in there. If I see an opening like that body shot, I see them ribs. I see that opening, boom. I'm going for it. Anyway, it says in the strangers, which are other Israelites. I gave you an example. When we got on YouTube, I guess it was the 3rd week of July. The third going into the 4th week of July. It was on the weekend. That's when we first went on YouTube. And people started coming in, and then these other camps started. Oh, ISUPK wasn't even around. Maybe they had but they were, I don't know the whole thing, but they had a little small camp. What made people started, being members of the ISUPK. The IUIC, they didn't have no members. They started getting members flocking in there when they put forth all them gimmicks. When you put forth all them gimmicks, that's when you got the people came. They came in for the gimmicks, not for the truth, because you don't have 100% truth. Mind you, you do have truth. So if somebody says, do these other camps have it? Of course they have truth. They have, I would say, 95% truth, but they don't have the whole truth. So when we set up the first YouTube, when we put up the first YouTube page, the videos came out, and then in weeks, you had a lot of women too. Had a lot of women, all the women were flocking. All the women were flocking, and we'd be cursing the women out. Then these women found out about these other camps. They said, fuck GMS, we going to these other camps. Because if you're dealing with women, they got to be in order. They got to be seen and not heard. And in the kingdom, you're going to be barefoot and pregnant and happy about it. Oh, you're going to be happy about it. Okay, so strangers were the men that came in that watched us. And where you get, let's say Dallas, Texas. Who in this area is following, who lives in this area? Then they would get together. Now remember, all these camps that were assembled, none of these guys knew each other. They got to know each other when they left their friends of the world to become new friends, right? It says strangers. I'm laughing. I'm laughing because it's funny. It's funny how you got actual friends. Every last one of y'all had friends in the world. Now your friends are guys I'm dealing with Dallas. Let's say they're all together. All them guys are from different walks of life. They got different friends, but they became friends. You know, it says, strangers shall be joined with them. The strangers that shall be joined with them as you brothers come in the fold. Has nothing to do with Edomite or Moabite, talking about you Christian in a small hat. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. So we would represent, now you notice it said Jacob in Israel, then it said Jacob. Jacob, when you see Jacob in Israel, southern kingdom, northern kingdom. Jacob right here, now is southern kingdom and northern kingdom. So the same thing in Hebrews 8, it spoke about the new covenant. It's mentioned Judah, then it mentioned Israel, and as you read down, it says, I believe it says the house of Israel. Because you don't got to say Judah and Israel, because they're together now. The two, what do you call it? The two sticks then came together. Because remember, when you read that scripture, Ezekiel 37, what did the Spirit tell Ezekiel? He said, write on one stick, Judah and his companions. Write on another stick, Joseph, the stick of Ephraim and his companions. And put the two sticks together. So when did that come to pass? On this side, in our time. So it says, cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. We're going to take our people to our place, and we're going to take the other nations too. In other words, we're going to take them down. We're going to go around the planet. You got to understand, once the missiles drop and turn this place into a desert, it's going to be a fire. 5,000 square miles of fire for I don't know how long. Could be 5 years, 7 years, 2 years. The fire is going to stop, then it's going to be smoke billowing from it. So it's going to be some years before that smoke clears and you got this desert. That's in Isaiah 34, the line of confusion, meaning you can't say, oh, well, that's where Jersey used to be, and that's where Texas used to be, and that's where Connecticut used to be, and that's where California. No, it's just going to be straight desert. It's going to be one piece of land. It's going to be one piece of land. So it says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. Their place used to be America, but now it's our homeland. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land. Who are we going to possess? We're going to possess land, and we're going to possess the nations. And we're going to say, okay, you are Moabites, you go over here. We're going to line up the Moabites. We're going to line up the Edomites. And they're going to try to fight us too. And that's when we're going to have fun. That's when we're going to, oh, you want to fight? You want to fight? You know, the comedies where you have a guy with long arms and a guy got short arms, and the guy holds his hand out and he's punching, but he ain't hitting nothing. And all of a sudden, the big tall guy with the long arms is punch him out. That's what we're going to do to them with spiritual power. We're going to want you to come. We're going to say, please. It says, and the house of Israel, the Israelites, shall possess them in the land of Yahweh, the headquarters, for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So now, we know what that means, right? Let me just open this, let me pull a couple of words out, and then I'm going to go into the chat. And the chat agrees with what we're saying. But they try to water it down a little bit. So let's open this up. Give me a second here. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. We're going to go to our place. And the house of Yasha'Allah shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids, and shall rule and take them captive. So let's look up the word servants. Back to the basics, back to the basics, back to the basics. Ibad means slave. Slave, servant, manservant, subject, servant, worshiper of God. Servant in special sense as prophets, Levites, etc. Yeah, meaning we're servants unto the Most High. Servant of Israel, servant as form of address between equals. Slave, servant, slave, man, servant, subject, to be underneath. Servant, who amongst the Hebrews was commonly a what? A slave. Canaan being a servant unto us. This is 800. Servant H5650 is mentioned in the scriptures 803 times. I want to see if it's in the New Testament as well. Okay, that's just the Old Testament. That's just the Old Testament. So that's what you nations are going to be. You're going to be servants. The number one servant is going to be the Edomites. Let's come back. Handmaids. Let's look up the word handmaids. That's where your concubines come into play. We're going to have concubines. I don't care what ISUPK got to say. We're going to have concubines. And they're going to have concubines too. They're going to have concubines too. Shapacha. 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 Feminine noun. Handmaid, maid, maidservant, bond woman, maiden, woman servants, handmaidens, handmaid, servant, wench. Let me look up the word wench. Maid servant, slave girl. Did not Esau have their way with this with our women? You had certain slave masters, Edomites, that they specialized in selling beautiful slave women, Jake women, and they were called fancy girls. They were called fancy girls. And them it was two brothers, but there was many accounts, and they were like super rich. Because you got your own beautiful woman that you can do what you want with her. So let me go ahead and read this. Now Jonathan and Ahimaaz stayed by Enrogel, for they might not be seen to come into the city. And a wench went and told them, and they went and told King David. I'm not going to go further into this, but I want to look up the word wench. Let's look up the word wench. I may just go, let me do this. Okay, let me do this here. Okay, I was watching this. They put this up a little while ago. Anyway, let's go to the Google. Let me do this. Let me try this, y'all. Oh, I did Google. Boom. Wench definition. A girl or young woman. We're gonna get them young. In the new film about Columbus, she plays the token buxom wench. Buxom. The big bosoms. You know, Jake men like that. A man seek having their casual sex encounters with women, especially women of low, beautiful, especially women of low social class. In other words, they're ex-slaves, if you know what I mean. What does a wench mean in slang? Slang, wench mostly commonly refers to a young woman, often in a joking, facetious, or sometimes derogatory way. A female servant, a woman of low social standing, and these nations are going to be of low social standing, and it also developed a strong association with prostitution or loose morals. Today is often used nostalgically or jokingly as a, what is that, a nod to outdate or Shakespearean language. A buxom or lively one. What's this dude? We hot on your trails. You guys with your wild woman. You might like a wild woman. Sometimes you want a wild woman. So you can put her in her place. You know, you got a woman that she loses it and argue with you. She all up in your face, and sometimes that could be a turn on. That's when you do the what's this nigga? Damn, I can't think of the Birdman hand rub. Oh yeah, we gonna have fun tonight. Anyway, now let me do this. Let me go to Etimon online. Let's look up the word wench. So we will have women in other nations as concubines. Late 13th century, wench, girl, young woman, especially if unmarried, also female infant. Well, nah, we ain't gonna deal with no infants. Shortened form, wenchel, child. Also in early Middle English, girl, maiden. From Old English, wenchel, which is probably related to wanko, unsteady, fickle, weak. From Proto-Germanic, wankila, Old Norse, child, weak person. Old High German. Okay, wench, to bend, curve. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to bend them and we're going to see them curves. We're going to bend them. They're going to get bent. The wench is not dead. Is not dead, but sleepeth. Yeah, that's Old English for not or gnat. All right. It says in Shakespeare's day, a female flax worker could be a flax wench. Oh, here we go. Now we're cooking with coconut oil. Indicated by context, lewd or in, indiscreet woman, and a secondary sense of concubine, strumpet. A strumpet is a concubine. Is attested by mid 14th century, also serving maid, bondwoman, young woman of a humble class, lower, they're going to be lower class. A sense, that's why you think King David, the Most High didn't have a problem with King David having women over the other nations. He had a problem with them, he had a problem when he married them. That was the problem. U.S. South in reference to slave women of any age. Now, did not Esau do that to us? Did not the other nation do that to us, our women? We're gonna do that to them. And I'm looking forward to it too. We're gonna be having fun in the kingdom. We're gonna be having fun in the kingdom. Okay, now where did I say? Okay, let me come back over here. So a handmaid doesn't necessarily mean she's just gonna be working for you. You're gonna be doing what you want with her. And you're gonna be buying them. You're gonna be. I'm gonna pick the slave pit. You're gonna make sure they built the way you want them built. And your wife ain't gonna say nothing because she's gonna be barefoot, pregnant, and happy about it. So we're gonna take the men. They're gonna be servants, and the women are gonna be concubines and maids. Take them captives. Let's look up the word captives. Whose captives we were. Oh, we're gonna be nice to them? No, they wasn't nice to us. So the word there for captive is shabah. Carry, take away, captive. Take, drive away, take. To take captive, to take captive, captive. To lead captive. To be taken captive. Did not King David put the Edomites in captivity? Did not he build a garrison around them, which is a precinct? The word captive occurs 47 times in 42 verses. Abraham, the man of the Most High, right? Genesis 14 and 14. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, now that wasn't his brother, that was his nephew. That was his nephew. He armed his trained servants, trained in war, born in his own house, and his servants were super loyal. He wanted his chief servant to have the inheritance. He loved him like that was his son. 318 and pursued them, the Canaanite kings and their armies, unto Dan. And Abraham was fighting too. Abraham could shoot joints. I don't know if they went up there and told you. So now you know what I want to do? Let me come back over here. One more time. Possess them in the land. Possess who? The other nations. Number one on the list are the Edomites. Give me a second. I knew you was gonna call. No, I'm coming Sunday. I'm sorry, I got caught up. I'll be there Sunday for sure. Oh boy, you gotta wait 2 more days. Let me, yeah, let me ask you a question. What's the situation with your, you know, yeah, that's when you normally get it? Okay, because they're trying to work it out, you know? Yeah, well, don't worry about it. No, it's not like y'all don't have no money. You know, what the hell are you worried about? He got money. If I gotta give you, you know, the hell y'all gotta worry about? Yeah, so they don't take it. Now, let me say this. Let me ask you this. If you got stuff, if you got a certain amount of money left on to go to the next month, is that add on or you lose it? Oh, okay, then that's good. I think I'm gonna sign up for food stamps for the damn self. I did, but years ago I did it because this guy I knew that I grew up with, he said, you should get food stamps. This was years ago. And I said, but I got a job. He said, you can have a job and still get food. I said, shit, I can get free money. So I went and like they gave me $50 damn dollars a month. I think I did it too. Yeah. Yeah, because they're cutting down on everything. But years ago, you could have a job, full-time job, your wife had it, and then they'll see how much you made. But they'll give you a little, like if you have no money at all, they give you a lot of, you know. All right. Anyway, I'll see you guys Sunday. All right, bye. Thanks for calling. I knew you guys were gonna call. Anyway, forgive me. Forgive me. Okay, so now let's go here. Now you got vocab talking about so see, that's a spiritual servants and captivity means you're captive under Christ. This is why I say call the cops on that guy. If the guy came correct, we'll deal with him. We would deal with him. But that dude don't come correct. He'll say, you guys say you're going to have slaves in the kingdom. Then we go to the scripture. Oh, that's not talking about that. Them, like I've been saying, that should be a t-shirt. We don't need you. You need us. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Ain't nobody want to talk to you, that goddamn Christians. Just shut the fuck up and listen. If you have a problem, we'll just keep it moving. Anyway, it said handmaids. So we're gonna have handmaids, and they shall take them captives. Did I look up the word captives? Whose captives they were, I did. And they shall what? Rule over their oppressors. Are we gonna be nice? Are we gonna say Esau, you gotta get up and work? Come on now. Okay, look, I'm gonna give you the day off. I know you worked a hard day yesterday, so I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna give you 2 days off. But that third day you gotta work. But I won't work you 14 hours. I'll just work you, 5 hours. Okay? We ain't gonna compromise and sit down and discuss nothing with this devil. He gonna be out. He gonna be out there working. I want him out there working. Inside joke. So let's look up the word oppressors. Oppressors. Take them. I'm sorry. This curse is sticky because I don't have it on the pad. Oppressors. Let's look up the word oppressors. And please don't let me go to the Bible Hub because they come out straight. They'll give you links to this. They'll give you a link to Isaiah 60, Isaiah 61. Isaiah 61 verse 5, oppressor, taskmaster, exact. Exact meaning we're going to take with you. We're going to exact money from you. We're going to tax you. Distressed, oppressed, driver, we're going to drive you. We're going to make you work. Exactors, taxes. No, we ain't going to tax them. We're going to put them in hardcore captivity. This is what the Roman Empire did. They taxed you. See, it was when the pagan Romans, 2,000 years ago, enslaved, took over Israel and the rest of the nations. We were vassal states. We can do whatever the hell we want to do. We can have an order, army. We can have slaves too. But you had to give what is it, tribute to the imperial Rome. And when you didn't do it, they came down on you. Now, as far as the gladiators, those were slaves. They would say, you a strong kid, we're going to be a gladiator. But the thing about being a gladiator, you got up in the rankings, you became famous for your gladiatorial skills, and you eventually got that wooden sword, and you were free. Now the Jakes that came up into power and took the whole Roman Empire, the power seat, a lot of those guys were former military men that came up in the ranks and gladiators. The movie Gladiator 2, you had the character played by Mike Cranus. He was an actual guy. He ruled for a year from 217 to 218. Which was Denzel played that role. When you read the backstory, he was straight up a Jake. The emperors before him, when they showed them two pasty-looking, happy Edomites, those are actually Jake. That was one of them was Caracalla. Look it up. And he came in, and he became the next emperor. But there was another Jake, I forget his name, that ultimately took him down, had his head chopped off and all that. So when Ridley Scott, I believe he was the director behind that movie, he went into the history and he said, wait a minute, maybe he was watching us. Because when he made the first Gladiator, the emperor in the first Gladiator, which is Marcus Aurelius and Commodus' son, those were Jakes. Why couldn't you get that right? So you finally got it right? Maybe you're watching us? So your future, Esau, is captivity, but you're not going to be by yourself. So now let's go to the chat. Let's see what the chat got to say. Did Isaiah 14:2 come to pass? Going a little bit long. Okay, let's let it load up. Okay, they ain't saying too much about it. Okay, here we go. And the people, this is ESV, and the peoples will take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel will possess them, own them, in the land of the Lord, as male and female servants. They will take captives those who were their captors, and rule over their oppressors, over these who oppress them. So if they oppressed us, we're going to oppress them. To assess whether this prophecy came to pass, we need to consider both historical and theological perspectives, because interpretations differ among Jewish, Christians, and academic scholars. Historical context. Isaiah 14 belonged to the series of articles about Babylon and Israel's return from exile historically. Now, we know that this Babylon in the 14th chapter is not talking about ancient Babylon, Neo-Babylon, which Isaiah didn't know. It said after the Babylonian exile, 6th century BCE, before the Common Era, Many Israelites did return to their land under Cyrus the Great of Persia, and it was the Mede, the leader, the head of the Medes, which was Darius, that actually put the order out to have the king get his, so-called proverbial throat cut, surgical strike, fulfilling earlier prophecies about restoration, Ezra 1 and 2. However, there is no record that the returning Jews enslaved or ruled over their former oppressors. Exactly. Let me read that again. However, that's for you, vocab. Even though they had servants of other nations, that's also in the precepts. There's no record that the returning Jews enslaved or ruled over their former oppressors. They didn't take the Babylonians as a whole and put them in slavery, especially since the Medo-Persian Empire were over them, both the Israelites and the remaining citizens of the Babylonian Empire. Why did Cyrus make the proclamation, decree, to finance the rebuilding of the temple? Because the Spirit got on him to do it, and we were a vassal state. Look that word up. You have anytime in history, you have three classes of people. You have the lords or the overlords. You have the vassals, and then you have the serfs. That's in any system, whether they call it democracy or you have three classes of people: lords or overlords. Vassals. Give me a second. Anyway, I'm sorry. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. Hold on. See, this is why people ask us questions, so we can take time out, whether it be an hour or more, to do the research. And then a lot of people, thank you for the info. Most of the questions that y'all ask us, you can get the information yourself, or we done did a video on it in the past. I know for a fact that I did videos on Isaiah 14. Sometimes you got to come back. Okay, what did I get? Isaiah 14 belongs to a series of oracles about Babylon and Israel returned from exile. Historically, after the Babylonian exile, 6th century BCE, many Israelites did return to their land under Cyrus the Great of Persia. So now you got to go. Now you got to do what? Go to Google. Cyrus the Great. When did he live? Who was this guy? Who was his father? Who was his son? Of Persia, right? The Persians today are the people of Iran, the Elamites, which are Shemites. Small Hat says you're anti-Sem. Well, guess what? There's many Semites out there. They even give you the approximate year, 530 circa 539 BCE, before the Common Era, fulfilling earlier prophecies about restoration. Now, right, Ezra 1 to 4. Well, you can start at the first chapter and read the second, third, Matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me go to that. Let me go to Ezra 1. Ezra 1. Now you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Going into overtime. Okay, let's do this.
The Book of Ezra, chapter 1. Now in the first year of Cyrus king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, and saying, Thus saith Cyrus king of Persia, The Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord God of Israel. He is the God which is in Jerusalem. And whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver, and with gold, and with goods, and with beasts, beside the freewill offering for the house of God that is in Jerusalem. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, with all them whose spirit God had raised, to go up to build the house of the Lord which is in Jerusalem.
You heard that? The priests and the Levites, because they were working in the temple. They were part of it. They were a fixture in the temple. Let me bring that back. In the kingdom, we're all going to be priests.
It's with all them whose spirit God had raised, to go up to build the house, freewill offering for the house of God that is in Jerusalem. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, with all them whose spirit God had raised, to go up to build the house of the Lord which is in Jerusalem.
So what are we doing now? We're building a spiritual temple, invisible. The small hats over there, they're trying to build an actual physical temple. They don't understand the scriptures. This third temple is we represent a brick.
Jerusalem. And all they that were about them strengthened their hands with vessels of silver, with gold, with goods, and with beasts, and with precious things, beside
So they financed it under the decree of Cyrus, or Cyrus the Great, of the king of Persia.
all that was willingly offered. And also Cyrus the king brought forth the vessels of the house of the Lord, which Nebuchadnezzar had brought forth out of Jerusalem, and had put them in the house of his gods. Even those did Cyrus king of Persia bring forth by the hand of Mithredath the treasurer, and numbered them unto Shebazar the prince of Judah. And this is the number of them, 30 chargers of gold, 1,000 chargers of silver, 29 knives, 30 basins of gold, silver basins of a second sort, 410, and other vessels 1,000. All the vessels of gold and of silver were 5,400. All these did Shebazar bring up with them of the captivity that were brought up from Babylon unto Jerusalem.
So
Chapter 2.
why did he do that? If we were slaves, we weren't exactly slaves. We were vassals under the top the you know, under Cyrus. Remember when Cyrus had died? What was the king? I believe it was Xerxes. I got to go back into the history. There was a dispute about them getting the money, and they had to go to the records, and they found a record where Cyrus signed off on the fact that yeah, they get X amount, they get enough money to build a temple back. So you know what I want to do? Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Number of those returning. Altar and sacrifices. Altar and sacrifices restored. Right? adversaries hinder the work. These are these neighboring nations. They wanted to build with us, just like you got vocab, and you got these jakes that come. They sneak up on us and ambush us and all that because they're trying to build with us, but they want to build it their way. They have a different blueprint than us. Oh, we got to build this thing together. You got to come up under us. Let me do this. I believe the word hammer. Give me a second here. Oh, not hammer. I believe the word there is sword. Nope. I'll find it. How about weapon? Nope. Bear me for a minute, y'all. Okay, then the people of the land, the heathens, weakened the hands of the people of Judah, troubled them in building, and hired counselors to them, frustrate their purpose. Okay, and in the days of Xerxes, which is Artaxerxes, which Xerxes wrote, and they had to find the letter. It said the letter to King Artaxerxes or Xerxes or Ahasuerus. Thought it said something about weapons. But be it known unto the king that the Jews which came up from thee to us are come unto Jerusalem, building a rebellious and bad city. They call it a rebellious and bad city, and have set up the wall thereof and joined the foundation. Be it known unto the king that if this city be built and the wall set up against them, they trying to stop us coming together, the fulfillment. Will they not pay toll, tribute, and custom? When you pay toll, that's the slavery that they were in. They were under them. That was a vassal state, and they had to pay tribute to the overlords. And so thou shalt and damage the revenue of the king. Now because we have maintained the king's place in the divine. That search may be made in the book of the records of their fathers. Because they were saying Cyrus never said that, so they had to go get a signet. They had to get a signet, him signing it off on. No, yeah, I did say that. So that show you that they honored their dead. The king replies, and work stops. Maybe it's something else. So let's come on back here. It says, however, there's no record that the returning Jews enslaved or ruled over their former oppressors. Who are their former oppressors? Vocab. Who are their former oppressors? The Babylonians. They didn't take, okay, there's 1,000,000 citizens of the Babylonian Empire. Okay, the Israelites took over the, no, that did not happen. In a literal geopolitical sense, instead, they lived under Persian rule. They were a vassal state, and later Greek and Roman empires. Thus, from a strict historical viewpoint, the literal enslavement or dominion described in Isaiah 14:2 didn't occur in the political or military sense. Political or military sense meaning you're our slaves. No, we don't want to be your slaves. Get the military on their asses and bust them up. Chop about 25% off of them. Chop them up. Okay, you ready to go into slavery now? No. Okay, chop off another 25% of them. You ready to go into slavery now? Because we can take all the men and destroy you and just take your women and then bring back more Israelites. That's what's happening with this war, this slaughter that the Russians are committed to against the people of Ukraine. They have a shortage of men. You have none but women. So now that could be a setup where that's going to be one of the places that we're going to go to, and we're going to take all them women. So we're going to have babies that got a little Ukrainian DNA in them. I have some Russian babies, some Ukrainian babies, and there's some beautiful women out there. Okay? So this is what they said. I'm going to read no more. It says, thus, from a strict, and now what does chat say about the GMS? We put strict adherence to the scriptures being broken down the right way, right? It said, thus, from a strict historical viewpoint, the literal enslavement or dominion described in Isaiah 14:2 did not occur in the political or military sense, because that's a future prophecy. Going to happen in our lifetimes. Scholarly interpretation. Modern critical scholars often read Isaiah 14 as nationalistic poetry expressing Israel's hope for a reversal after Babylon fall. This is talking about this Babylon, and they know it's talking about this Babylon. Not necessarily a literal prediction, but a prophetic vision of justice and restoration. So what are they saying? That this didn't happen. It's going to happen. There was a word there. When I looked it up, I believe the word was reversal of oppression. I didn't read all of this, but let me do this. Give me a second here. Let me do it this way. Bear with me for a minute, y'all. Okay, 3 times. Oppress. Okay, when I looked at it on my other computer, it's a reversal of oppression. Okay, let me go, come over here. Let me go to, let me open up another tab. Reversal of oppression definition. The term reversal of oppression is used to describe discrimination against members of a dominant group in favor of a minority group, often associated with concepts like reverse racism. However, many scholars argue that true oppression requires a systematic power structure, and therefore reverse oppression cannot exist because minority groups often lack the necessary institutional power to oppress the majority. So we're going to have to become more powerful than them. Instead, the term is often seen as a way to dismiss the struggles of a marginalized group when they gain power or are supported by systems aimed at rectifying inequality. Let me do this. Let me try this word. Did I write that right? Okay, I don't want that. Anyway, on to the next one. Shalom.